Hi guys! Today lesson is about regional economic integration. There are four learning objectives in this lesson and I hope that by the end of this lesson you should be able to first explain what is regional economic integration and explain the case that support and against of regional economic integration. Second, outline the levels of economic integration. Third, discuss the obstacle to economic integration. And last, describe integration in Europe, America, and Asia. We will start with the first learning objective. Regional economic integration refers to a process whereby countries in a same geographic region cooperate with one another in order to reduce or eliminate barriers to the international flow of products, people, or capital. Simply said, there will be no barriers for products, people, or capital to move from one country to another in the same economic integration. This is an arrangement in which countries agree to coordinate either their trade, fiscal, or monetary policy. The main goal of countries undergoing economic integration is to enhance border trade and investment as well as to raise the living standard for their people. This figure shows the geographic region in the world. Please bear in mind that regional economic integration only happens with countries in the same geographic region. For example, only countries in the Europe region can form an economic integration among them, while countries from other geographic regions cannot become a member for any forms of economic integration in the Europe region. As mentioned earlier, the goals of a regional economic integration is to enhance border trade and investment, as well as to raise the living standard for their people. However, not all countries, groups, or individuals in favor or support the case for this. Some actually against regional economic integration. Those that in support of economic integration are due to the advantages and benefit arise. Here are some points that we will discuss to use to argue the case for regional economic integration. Economic integration removes barriers to trade and or investment amongst members. The increase in the level of trade between countries members that result from regional economic integration is called trade creation. One result of trade creation is that consumer and industrial buyers in member nations are faced with more choices of goods and services which are not previously available in their country. For example, through the economic integration of NAFTA, Canada, Mexico, and the US have more variety of choices in terms of goods and services available in their country, which come from among these three nations. There can also be political benefits from efforts toward regional economic integration. A group of nations can have significantly greater political weight than each nation has individually. Thus, working as a group as a whole can have more say when negotiating with other countries in forums such as the WTO. Integration involving political cooperation can also reduce the potential for military conflict between the member nations in the same economic integration. Regional integration can also expand employment opportunities by enabling people to move from one country to another to find work or simply to earn a higher wage. Recall lesson 4 which we discussed about international labor mobility. That is, Labor from one country want to move to another country with higher wage, but it has to depend on whether migration is allowed or not. However, international labor mobility is made possible with regional economic integration. Let's now look at the main arguments of those pushing the case against regional economic integration. The flip side of trade creation is trade diversion. Trade diversion can occur after the formation of an economic integration because of the lower tariff charge among member nations. It can actually result in increased trade with a less efficient producer members within the economic integration and reduce trade with a more efficient non-members producer. Simply said, not all members in the same economic integration are efficient, or at least efficient than non-members. But due to lower tariff between members, hence members have no choices but trading with their less efficient members. Thus, economic integration can unintentionally reward a less efficient producer within the economic integration. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of regional economic integration is the effects on people jobs. Economic integration not only allow international labor mobility, which labor can move to member countries with higher pay or wage, but at the same time, producer in one member country also can move to other member countries in the economic integration. Thus, in order to minimize production costs, producers tend to shift or move their production to member countries that have lowest production costs, therefore causing the loss of initial jobs or job opportunity in its own country. Example, NAFTA and economic integration between the US, Canada, and Mexico has shifting their production to Mexico due to lower production costs. However, at the same time, this has caused the people in the US and Canada lose their job or job opportunities available in the country. Some people argue that they will also lose their unique national identity if their nation cooperates too much with others. Successive levels of integration require that nations surrender more of their national sovereignty. The least amount of sovereignty that must be surrendered occurs in a free trade area. By contrast, a political union requires nations to give up a high degree of sovereignty in the foreign currency. This is why a political union is so hard to achieve. Okay, now we will outline the levels of economic integration in the world. This figure shows five potential levels of economic and political integration in the world. A free trade area is the lowest extent of national integration, whereas political union is the greatest integration. So, the integration increased while moving from level 1 to level 5. Each level of integration incorporates the characteristic of those levels that before it. Now, we will see the characteristic of each level of economic integration based on this figure. Start with the first level and also the lowest level, free trade area. Under free trade area, members remove all barriers to trade among members, but each member can determine its own barriers against non-members. Free trade area is possible between at least two or more countries. Examples of free trade area are such as NAFTA and AFTA. Second level is custom union. Members remove all barriers to trade among them, but all members now are required to set a common trade policies against non-members. Thus, the main difference between a free trade area and a custom union is that the members of a custom union agree to trade with all non-member nations in a similar manner. Example of custom union is Mercosur. The third level is common market. Members remove all barriers to trade, free movement of labor and capital, and also set a common trade policy against non-members. We can see that a common market integrates the element of both free trade area and custom union, but they adds the new characteristic, which is the free movement of important factors of production, that is, people and also cross-border investment. This level of integration is very difficult to attain because it requires members to cooperate to at least some extent on economic and labor policy. Furthermore, the benefit to individual countries can be uneven because skilled labor may move to countries where wages are higher and investment capital may flow to areas where returns are greater. The fourth level is economic union. Under the economic union, members remove all barriers to trade, free movement of labor and capital, coordinate economic policy, and set a common trade policy against non-members. An economic union goes beyond the demand of a common market by requiring member nations to harmonize their tax, monetary, and fiscal policy, as well as to create a common currency. There is only one example of economic union in the world, the European Union, or also commonly referred as the EU. The last level and also the highest level of economic integration is political union. Under the political union, members remove all barriers to trade, free movement of labor and capital, coordinate all economic and political policy, as well as set a common trade policy against non-members. A political union requires member nations to accept a common stand on economic and political matters regarding non-members nations. For now, we yet to have any political union, but the EU is moving to this direction. In addition to the case that support and against regional economic integration, there are also some obstacles to economic integration. These obstacles happen to countries that in support or favor of economic integration, but the progress were disrupted or some members have to withdraw their membership. For example, due to political and ideology conflict which happened in the Central American Common Market. There is a long war involved in between member countries, that is El Salvador and Honduras, and guerrillas conflict in several countries. However, renewed peace is creating more business confidence and optimism, which is driving double-digit growth in trade between these members. Another obstacle was due to social and cultural differences which were experienced by Turkey, and Turkey has been rejected to join the EU. In addition, the EU not only rejected potential members due to social and cultural differences, but also due to income disparities. They did not immediately accept all European countries as members because it could have undesirable social and employment implications to the other members. Okay, now we have reached the last learning objective of today's lesson: integration in Europe, America, and Asia. Here are some examples of economic integration in Europe, America, and Asia. In Europe, we have the EU and EFTA. In America, we have NAFTA, CAFTA, and Mercosur. In Asia, we have ASEAN and APEC. There are also other types of economic integration which is not discussed here. Please do some exploring on your own. It will be interesting to know the other examples of economic integration in the world. We will discuss one example of economic integration for each geographic region. Hence, in specific, we will discuss the EU, NAFTA, and ASEAN. The EU is the most sophisticated and advanced example of regional integration that we have today. Also the highest integration so far, since we yet to have any example for political union. The EU is a group of 28 members countries in Europe, started in 1957. It has created an economic union which allowing people to move and trade in other EU countries almost the same as they do in their own country. In practical terms, this means that French citizens can work and live in Germany without needing a visa or any kind of special paperwork. They can come and go as they please. They don't even need to show their passport to go between the two countries. Moreover, they use the same currency too, the euro currency. The EU has a motto. It reads United in Diversity. The motto signifies how Europeans have come together in the form of the EU to work for peace and prosperity while at the same time being enriched by the region's many different cultures, traditions, and languages. However, now they only have 27 members, with the UK has officially left the EU on the 31st January 2020. The term Brexit refers to British exit from the EU, or we can say divorce from the EU after 47 years of becoming partners. On 23 June 2016, a referendum was held to decide whether the UK should remain in the EU or leave. More than 30 million people voted, and Leave won by 51.9% to 48.1% of Remain. The EU has created a single market for all the members, which means that countries can trade with one another and people can move around freely as if they were all living together in one big country. So, why did over half of voters, that is 51.9% in the UK, choose to leave this special group despite the benefit that they enjoy? The idea of the single market was to increase trade between countries, creating jobs and lowering prices. This is the case in support for economic integration that we discussed earlier. However, the European Parliament decide on many rules and standards that EU member countries have to follow, and the UK felt that they were losing control on their own affairs and law. Remember the case that against of economic integration due to loss of sovereignty? This was exactly how the UK felt. They felt that they no longer able to handle their own affairs and law since they are subjected to the European Parliament decision. Also, many people are moving from poorer countries to richer countries. This has made some people in the UK worry the free movement rule, which allowed people in the UK to move to any other EU country without needing special permission. A visa, a passport, no need at all, but they are worried about this. And the UK become one of the most promising countries in the EU for people to move and migrate. Therefore, there are so many immigrants in the UK more than their own British people. So, does Brexit only affect the EU and the UK? Do other countries will be influenced in terms of international trade due to Brexit? Of course, Brexit will affect the trade between the UK and the EU, as well as the trade between the UK with other countries, which was made when the UK was the member of the EU. So, the UK might have to make a new trade deal, not only with the EU but also with other countries by themselves. Some say we are stronger when we are together, and we are weak when we are alone. So, only times can tell whether the UK will become stronger or weaker after leaving the EU. Next, we have NAFTA in the America region. NAFTA is enacted in 1994 and has created millions of jobs in Canada, Mexico, and the US, as well as enhanced the regional global competitiveness. NAFTA is now the largest free trade agreement in the world. North America is the most extensive free trade zone in the world, which is close to 5 times the size of the EU. And remember, EU only have 27 members, but NAFTA only have 3 members, that is Canada, Mexico and the US. But the size of it basically 5 times bigger the size of the EU. The NAFTA region produces goods and services valued at more than $20 trillion every year. What a big amount! Canada is the US and Mexico top customer, which Canada buys almost 60% of its worldwide imports from the US and Mexico. Trade among Canada, the US, and Mexico is estimated at $125 million per hour. With only 7% of the world population, these three countries together generate 28% of the world GDP based on this economic integration. Since 1994, the GDP of North America has increased steadily at an average annual rate of 2.5%. From all these quick facts, we can see that NAFTA benefits all the three countries' members. Lastly, we have ASEAN in the Asia region. ASEAN has 10 country members that are Thailand, Laos, Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam, Myanmar, Malaysia, the Philippines, Brunei, and Cambodia. In terms of economy, if Asia was a single country, it would be the sixth largest economy in the world and third largest in the Asia. The region is already an economic powerhouse and is set to grow to become the equivalent of the world's fourth largest economy by year 2030. In terms of trade, 99% of the intra-Asian trade tariffs have already been eliminated. Therefore, intra-Asian trade comprising the largest share of Asian total share of trade. In terms of investment, ASEAN is the world's third largest recipient of foreign direct investment. Due to low cost production in this region, many developed countries such as US, UK, so on and so forth invest in the Asian region. Taken as a single entity, ASEAN represents the third world largest market after China and India. And ASEAN also the world's third largest labor force with around 630 million people or 9% of the world population, and more than half of its population is under 30 years old, is still young and vibrant that can contribute a lot to the economy. We can summarize that all the examples of economic integration, no matter in the Europe, America and Asia, generally benefits all the members country to an extent. And the main goal of the economic integration is to increase free trade between countries so that both countries and its people can have larger national welfare. So, that's all for today's lesson. Thank you and see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.